All right, it's the TexAgs High School Football Show, Week 2, on YouTube, on TexAgs.com. Didn't know that it was going to be on YouTube last week until after the show when Dalton told me, so really want to make sure you guys go over to YouTube, check us out. It's free content. We're going to talk a little high school football, Texas high school football each and every week. Ryan Brauninger, I'm with Jason Howell. The TexAgs recruiting team hitting the road each and every week to go see Texas A&M targets and some of the best matchups across the state of Texas. So what we'll do now as we get into the meat of the season is we'll recap where we were last week, and then we'll kind of preview what's coming up, where we're going, and then some other big-time matchups across the state. So we'll start in DFW. Jason, you had a full week, 4 games. I think both of us saw our fair share of blowouts, but it was awesome to get back out there with the full stadium, with the bands, the cheerleaders. It felt like Friday Night Lights again. And I was just, for me at least, I was super excited to get back into kind of a no restriction setting in Texas high school football.
Yeah, I mean, it was week 1, and you saw, a lot of excitement. You saw the fans in the stands. You saw it all, your general sloppy play when it comes to the first week of matchups, mishandling snaps, penalties, all that stuff. But overall, man, it was just good to be back out there. I got a chance. My first game was a really, really good one, with Mount Pleasant going up against Wiley East. Wiley East pulled out to 19-14 win. Good start for, Texas A&M alum, Aggie Network member Marcus Gold. And so, it was good. It was good to see him pull out the win there at his debut as the Wiley East head coach. I thought the defense really stood tall there at the end and came up with an interception to close out the game. Anthony James showed some really good flashes. 2023 commit that, high potential guy. Athleticism off the charts. We've talked about it, but he showed some really good flashes and fought through some blocks and really, really stepped up in his first game. Plano East and Allen to kick off the Chad Morris era and Allen. That was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be at first. Plano East was going toe to toe with them in the first half, and
that young quarterback they got looks good.
Yeah, well, he committed to TCU over the weekend too for baseball.
Wow. Okay.
So Drew DeVilliers committed to 2024 quarterback, 6'4", 195-pound quarterback, made some really good throws, committed to TCU for baseball. They went toe-to-toe. I look for Plano East to be a little bit more of a contender this year, but Allen took control. David Hicks was spectacular. He's the number 1 player in the state for a reason. I think I had two highlights of him chasing down plays from the backside, 20 yards downfield, which that's just ridiculous to me. He's 6'4", 270 pounds, and he's chasing down running backs. And in some cases, he didn't have angles. So, I mean, it was nuts watching him do work. And Nato Umazula, yeah, I'm going to mess that name up. But, he looked like a top 20 prospect. And a guy that, there's a reason why A&M and others have prioritized him throughout the process. And, he looked great at tackle, and, he might project more towards the inside at guard, but he looked like he could handle tackle responsibilities to me, and every bit a top 20 prospect. I got to see Denton Ryan talk about a game that did not go the way I thought it would. I thought Ryan would win. I did not see a running clock in the fourth quarter to kind of win. And that defense at Denton Ryan just looked spectacular. They picked up right where they left off, and they're in state championship form. And Anthony Hill, I put together the highlight clips from that game, and I'm sure I missed a few. But watch it. I mean, the highlight reel at linebacker is just man, it is everything you want in a backer. I mean, he's all over the field. He's your typical Mike. He can, but he's chasing down Jalen Hale. He is, sticking his nose in the middle of the line of scrimmage and pulling out the ball, getting a fumble recovery. Yeah, he was all over the backfield, getting pressure on the quarterback. It was just all in all. We talk about David Hicks. Anthony Hill looked every bit the 5-star prospect that we all thought he was. And then I closed it out with a little Argyle, Nolan Catholic. This one went pretty much to script for me. That O-line, D-line combo at Argyle just really took controlled the line of scrimmage. And Jaden Scarlett, who was held out a little bit, he played in the first half, but was limited due to an ankle sprain, something he's been battling throughout preseason. And but he showed some nice flashes, got in the backfield, had a tackle for loss. But yeah, it couldn't have been a better weekend for me. 4 games. That's a lot of talking I just did. Yeah, a lot of standout performances.
Well, I think, I saw 3 blowouts in Greater Houston, but I could start on Thursday with the Atascocita Klein Collins, but I think we need to start on Saturday with what happened at Klein Memorial Stadium and with what Connor Wigman did. Bridgeland wins 54-14. On the field before the game, I'm sitting there just looking at both sets of rosters overall, and I'm going, man, Klein Cain's big, physical, got good-looking kids at the skill positions. Matthew Golden, obviously, tremendous playmaker at wide receiver. I said, Connor's going to have to be really good tonight. And he was more than really good. He was sensational. He was National Player of the Week type good. And, this is a high school football show with an A&M twist, but if we were just talking about high school football across the state of Texas, I think the number one performance we'd have to start with was what Connor Wigman did. 8 total touchdowns, 5 throwing, 2 rushing, 1 receiving to end the half. It was the best half of football. He had 7 touchdowns at the half, scored on 8 consecutive drives. So the first drive of the third quarter, a 70-yard touchdown pass. It was the best half of football, probably the best performance that I've ever covered in any high school football game in my tenure, Jason. It was steal the show, bright, biggest lights on me and watch what I do. It was an incredible overall performance, and he set the bar really high. Listen, they got Shadow Creek this week, so he's going to have to go back to work and do that again. And if he does,
you told me before, like the game, you sent a text, man. I think Connor's going to have an all-world performance for them to win this one. Yeah. And I think he answered that call from me, man.
Well, it was so much fun to watch. And even though it got to be a blowout, it was must-see TV because with it being broadcast nationally, every play he was doing something different. And you saw the whole repertoire of what makes him now our top quarterback in the state, one of the tops in the country. You saw the arm strength. You saw the elite timing, the ability to make different throws from different arm angles. You saw the scrambling ability. You saw the design run. You saw the power, the shiftiness in his ability to run. Just he left no box unchecked. Just an incredible performance to start the year for me, and really was an awesome cap to my opening weekend of covering high school football in Greater Houston, which I did start at Atascocita, and it's a team that will be making a trip up to DFW this weekend. Craig Stump's Atascocita Eagles making the trip up to play the Allen Eagles there in DFW. That'll be a very interesting matchup. David Hicks versus Cam Dewberry should be a lot of fun. The Atascocita ground game looked very potent. They do a lot of quarterback runs. Gavin Session, their quarterback, really good in the open field. They got enough playmakers out wide to keep you honest. They got a couple of really nice young running backs in Jamari Green at 2024 that transferred over from Livingston. And they've also got a 2025 Torrey Blaylock, who looks like the next big thing at Atascocita from a skill position standpoint. So Klein Collins really didn't offer much resistance. They brought in a 2024 quarterback late, Tucker Parks, who I really liked, gave their offense some life. But Atascocita ran away with that one. And then the next night was, Katy versus Clear Springs, was really looking forward to the Bobby Taylor versus Noah Thomas matchup. Noah Thomas, unfortunately, unable to go. He did suit out and go through pregame and was in pads the entire first half. I think the plan was, if Clear Springs was hanging around, Jason, that they would use Noah in some spots. But, it just didn't happen. It's typical with Katy. Teams usually don't hang around very long. So at the half, the machine that is Katy, they rolled right along. And coaching staff for Clear Springs made the decision to put Noah in street clothes at halftime. But, Bobby Taylor was coming off an off-season surgery, a lower body injury, and Malik Silla missed the last half of last year with surgery and an injury as well. So good to see both of those guys get out there and move around. That Katy defense is incredible. Their offense is the same stuff they've been doing for Gary Joseph's tenure. It's like 1,000 paper cuts. Like, you can't stop them from getting 7 yards a play. And they can eat an entire quarter, and they'll go power run for 4. Then they'll go, power toss sweep for 7. Then they'll go back to power run for 8. And then, so everybody's around the line of scrimmage, and next thing you know, it's a play action with a wide open wide receiver. They do it against not great teams. They do it against great teams. It's the Katy way. Like you said, Jason, it's the machine, and it works. So blowout win for Katy to start the year. Just as we figured, they look like they're back on the warpath for another state title. So that was our opening weekend. 7 total games between the two of us. I don't know, because with college football starting now, that we'll ever get to 7 games in a weekend. Maybe as we get into the playoffs and some of the state championship weekends, the kind of thing. But let's turn the page. Let's start looking ahead to this week, Jason. Start with you. Where are you headed? And then some other games in DFW you're looking at.
Thursday night, I'll be in Eaton at Eaton for the Haslet-Eaton Mansfield Legacy game. Going to see offensive lineman Hunter Herb, one of our favorites, a guy that we were beating the drum for even before he had a Texas A&M offer. So Hunter Herb is coming off a great weekend. If you haven't seen the huddle clips, go watch them. You're going to love it. He's just pancaking guys left and right. He's slapping guys to the ground. I mean, it is awesome stuff. Get to see big tight end target Jaden Platt in the 2023 class, who's been pretty high on the Aggies since his process really started to heat up. And then on Friday, I'm going to go see a couple of DFW favorites, Duncanville and Dallas South Oak Cliff. Going to go see top target Amari Abor from Duncanville, and 2023 SOC cornerback Malik Muhammad, who's back at SOC after spending the spring there at IMG Academy. So I'm geared up. I can't wait to see what Duncanville does coming off that modern day loss in spectacular fashion. I know there are some hungry dudes out there ready to show.
Hey, and before these Cali people want to get on here and talk about how Cali football is better than Texas football, Duncanville is a public school, right? Modern day, they've got 30-something kids with offers that they recruit. They're IMG of the West Coast.
Well, Duncanville, I did not call for them to pull out that win, but I did expect it to be a little closer. They have plenty of talent and depth as well. I mean, when it comes to you're talking, I know it's different levels. When you talk about Duncanville, North Shore, and some of the big powerhouse programs that are just stacked and loaded each and every year here in DFW. But I did expect a little bit more from Duncanville in that matchup, a little bit more of a contest, and they have some real questions to answer. But I think Amari Abor was like, hey, don't judge somebody off of one performance. Watch out. Yeah. So he's going to be fired up and ready to go. He heard the noise out there. He heard people talking. He's ready to show everybody, hey, that was one game.
And look, I'm not knocking California high school football. When you look at the talent that comes out of California, you can't argue against it. Who's the number 1 team in college football, Jason?
Ooh.
In the preseason, Alabama. Where's their quarterback? Where's their quarterback from?
He's from California.
Who's the number 2 team in the country, Jason?
Is that Ohio? I don't even know. Ohio State?
Ohio State. Yeah. Where's their quarterback from?
Yeah, California. So is Clemson.
That's what the number 3 team in the country. Where's their quarterback from? California. They got great talent. Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Alabama running back from Antioch, California. They got great talent out there. It's just
none of the be on my fantasy football team as Pittsburgh Steelers.
The issue is none of those kids want to stay out there and play because they draw crowds like UCLA had on Saturday, where there's 75 people in the Rose Bowl for a mid-afternoon game on opening weekend. Look, that's beside the point. I'm not knocking California high school football. They got great talent, but you can't compare a private school that recruits kids from all over the state, all over the region, to a public school in Texas. And the event of Texas high school football, the aura around it is just a little bit bigger. Look, I got off track. I just wanted to say my piece there. This week, Thursday, I have some obligations I can't get out of, so I don't have a Thursday game, but Friday night, my plan at least right now, I'm waiting on those always they're very important emails, but you never know when you're going to get them on confirmation for media credentials. I'm planning on heading to Houston Lamar, hosting the Woodlands there at Del Mar Stadium, right there in the center of Houston. If something doesn't work out there, I may make the trip to the Golden Triangle and check out Tomball Memorial and Beaumont Westbrook. But we'll see. Hopefully I can get confirmation on those media credentials, and I will be in the building for Houston Lamar and the Woodlands on Friday. The Thursday slate in Houston, I'm kind of upset. I mean, these are teams that I'll see down the road, but Dickinson plays Fort Bend Ridgepoint, and then Fort Bend Marshall plays Fort Bend Elkins as well on Thursday. Both of those, I'm really interested to see Dickinson and Fort Bend Marshall, but Fort Bend Ridgepoint's been a fantastic program in Southwest Houston for a while now. Really big fan of how Coach Lefevre runs his program. So just one game for me this week, but I'm super excited to see what the Woodlands has got going on. Had a barn burner last week where they won. A&M commit Martrell Harris had a fantastic game. They gave up a lot of points, but he really flashed that elite athleticism and get off and twitchiness. Obviously, Mabry Mettauer, the 2024 quarterback, plenty of offers there on the A&M radar. The Siraki brothers who are up front. The Woodlands has got a really good team. It'd be really excited to see them play.
Absolutely. And shoot, we talked about it in the past, that linebacker group, I mean, with Harris, the Harris boys, Martrell and Ish, that's as athletic as they come. And both of them have big weekends. And shoot, Ish has another big weekend this week with Fort Worth All Saints. They got the win over
Chris Powell Freeman, right? Isn't that Chris Powell Freeman?
Chris Powell Freeman, standout speedster receiver, kind of in that Brennan Thompson mode for All Saints. Texas A&M offer, a guy that he was in College Station late July, right? So he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. That should be a fun little cat and mouse game with Ish Harris, trying to track him down and keep up with him throughout. But Ish had a great opening week against Plainview in a tight ball game. I want to say 3 touchdowns, and he did some work. But that's one of the bigger DFW area matchups. And Argyle's got another big one with Pleasant Grove out of Texarkana. Always a powerful program, always talented. And they have a youth movement going on right now. They're 23s, 24s, and 20. They got Landon Jackson's little brother is a 25 tight end. That's like 6'5", 240 pounds starting for him. So definitely some talent there that I would love to get out and see. Man, there's a lot of really stout matchups, not just involving the commits, but across the state too. I mean, I'm looking at that. I think Lake Travis has got Judson and beat DeSoto last week.
Yeah.
Euless Trinity traveling to Westlake in Austin. I mean, Cibolo Steel, Reagan's always fun.
Yeah, there's some really good hill country matchups there.
Yeah, so should be a lot of fun.
It'll be interesting to see who comes out of Region 4. I mean, I think the powers that be are going to be the powers that be for a while. You're talking about Westlake and Lake Travis and even Cibolo Steel and Converse Judson. But there's some good teams. San Antonio Reagan, Corpus Christi Vets is very highly ranked in 5A Division I. We'll see if Region 4 can make some noise outside those big powers, as the season goes on. Don't forget, so we're on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. We're trying to get that YouTube algorithm going. You need to subscribe to TexAgs YouTube just for all the content that's being put out on that side. Way more free stuff than we've ever done. That's David Nuno's, he kind of birthed that idea of using the YouTube more, and I think it's been fantastic. Make sure you subscribe. We'll be back here every Wednesday recording. This should go out on Thursday around lunchtime to get you guys ready for your Texas high school football weekend. Hopefully you pop it on your way to a game or on your way home from work, and we can provide you with a little bit of a distraction from whatever's going on in the world and something we all love, Texas high school football. For Jason Howell, I'm Ryan Brauninger. We'll see you guys next week.